The Twilight Cup team I used at SF State on February 12th. All of them have second moves except for Muck. That's mostly a bluff. And I swept my first match. For some reason, the recording didn't save, but here's my opponent for the second match. You can see the first four are all weak against Azumarill, so I just need to bring in Toxicroak and Venusaur to deal with the counters for it. And right off the bat, she leads with a Houndoom, so I'm in good position here with Bubble and Play Rough. And I'm going to use an Ice Beam to start because it uses less energy to burn a shield. And that's what she uses. And she brought in a Alolan Marowak, which is still weak against Bubble, although my charge moves won't be super effective this time. So again, I just go with the faster Ice Beam, and that burns her second shield. And I'm not afraid of any of its moves, so I can just save a shield here with the Zoo being a tank. And I'm whittling it down with Bubble, and then just want to finish it off with the quicker Ice Beam. And here's the Ivysaur I was worried about. I'm surprised she didn't go with that sooner. I am able to get one more Ice Beam off before dying, though, so that takes most of its health down. And then either of my last Pokemon can finish it off. But I go with Toxicroak because I know Houndoom's still there. So I get my Mud Bomb charged up and ready to take it out right away. So I didn't need any of my shields or a third mon, so I'm going to stick with most of the same team, but swap out Venusaur for Frostlass just to deal with that Ivysaur again. This time she leads with Absol, which won't be weak against water, but it is weak as a dark type going against a fairy. And that's why I don't shield here, although in hindsight I should have in case it could have been Thunder. But now I get my Ice Beam off just to burn her for a shield. And now it's low enough that next time I can just use Ice Beam again. And here again I know I can take the hit and finish it off with Ice Beam. Then next is a Sneasel that I have the advantage against again, even with the low health, because I can just get one Play Rough off here and it's super effective. She doesn't shield, so that's it. And one more Dark type I have the advantage against, and I'm actually able to get one more Ice Beam off, which will burn her last shield after Water Gun already got the HP super low. And then it's easy pickings for Toxicroak with counter. I mean, she has one charge move, but it's not going to make a difference here, and that's game. My next opponent has a pretty diverse team. It's kind of similar to mine actually, and I decided I can just stick with the Azu lead. If he has Venusaur, I don't think he'll lead with it, so go with that. And it's Toxicroak, so I have a pretty good advantage here, even though I am weak against poison because Play Rough will hit it pretty hard. And right off the bat I go with Ice Beam to burn his first shield. And obviously since at the start we both have shields, and that way I can block his Sludge Bomb, that's why I know I have the advantage. And this time I go for the Play Rough in case he doesn't want to burn both shields right away, and he doesn't. So there goes the first Pokemon. And he goes for the mirror match here. Obviously he has the health advantage to start. I get my first Play Rough off, and it's neutral damage. And then he goes for his, and I decide to save my shield for now. I get some more charge in before switching to my Venusaur counter. And then I know an Ice Beam's coming, so I have to use my last shield. But luckily Frenzy Plant charges ridiculously fast, so I'm able to burn his last shield. And then it's a matter of who can get the charge move off first. He gets his Ice Beam off, but I'm able to survive, and that scares him off before my attack goes through. But Ninetales still takes Frenzy really hard. And then I make a huge mistake going with Toxie here, since I should have realized Psyshock would be just about charged, so that's just a waste. Luckily Azu finishes off with Bubble really quick, and then this is why I charged up my move before switching earlier, because now I can use Play Rough right away and luckily win the first battle. And then I decide to lead off with Frostlass in case he sticks with Toxie again, and that's what he does. I resist his counter as a ghost type, but both our charge moves are so fast, we get him off right away. So I burn his first shield while I'm going to take his Mud Bomb, because I know it's not going to do too much. And then here we both get a charge move at the same time. He wins the tiebreaker because he sent the challenge, so he gets my shield down, and then I finish him off at least. And then he's going to come in with a Gardevoir, and right away I should have seen the animation that he has Charge Beam on it and realized that he's using that to get Psychic off faster. But I don't know why I went with Venusaur since I'm weak against Psychic, and I really don't know why I didn't use a shield, so that was just a waste of free Pokemon. So I'm down to a Azumarill and one shield, and even though he said he went with Charge Beam to beat the water types like that, it still didn't do much damage to me. I finish him off with Ice Beam right away, and then it's the mirror match. So I know he has one shield left as well, so I use Ice Beam right away to get him to use it. And then I figure he's going to do the same, so that's why I saved my shield, because it was so fast. that couldn't have been play rough, and then we just go back and forth, and now I go with play rough since he has no more shields, so that is a good chunk. And then this time I think he's going to do the same, so I have my shield ready. So now we're both shieldless with about the same health, but I have a little bit more energy left. So I get one player off here, and then he's going to get one himself. And after that, I know he's so low, I just got to get an Ice Beam off right away, and luckily I do. So I'm able to somehow come back and win that mirror match. And then for some reason, I played the only other undefeated team in the 4th round instead of the last. And I see he has an Azumarill, so I'm going to need Venusaur there. And I'm also worried about the Golbat, so I stick with Frostlass, but he doesn't have a counter for a Zoo, so I lead with it. And I guess the poison types are a deterrent for Azumarill, but this isn't a terrible matchup. So right away, I want to get Ice Beam off to try and burn a shield, which it does. And then I'm afraid of his poison attack, so I use a shield here too, but really I should have just resisted that Dark Pulse. And then now I go for the play rough this time, and he still uses a shield. Wasn't sure if he'd fall for another Ice Beam there, but instead I do fall for his Dark Pulse again. So now we're both shieldless, and then he's worn me down with Poison Jabs. I'm surprised he actually went with a charge move there instead of just finishing him off with Poison Jab. But I go with Frostlass to finish him off right away with an Avalanche before he uses another charge move, because Powder Snow is just not that powerful. And then he comes with Toxicroak. I think I caught people by surprise with Frostlass a lot. They didn't realize it resists counter. And then Avalanche almost one-shots it, but he barely gets a Mud Bomb off to wear me down. And then Golbat's also weak against Avalanche, which was charged right away, so I finished it off without even needing Venusaur. So because of that, and since he led with Muck, I'm going to lead with Toxicroak this time and take out Venusaur, which is always kind of a risk to lead with such a frail Pokemon. And then he leads with a tank with a Azumarill, which is about a neutral matchup. Technically, I have the advantage with the poison attacks, but with shields, it's not really going to make a difference, and my counter's resisted. And we both get our charge moves off right away to burn some shields. And then I should have played it like last time and not feint attack again to burn a shield, because he would have taken that Sludge Bomb really hard if I would have went with it. Instead, I have to burn another shield to protect against Ice Beam. And then he switches out right when I'm going to get another attack off, and the Mud Bomb's resisted by Golbat. I switched my Ice Counter right away. He has a charge move, and he messed up and picked the wrong attack. He meant to use Shadow Ball, which would have really hurt. And instead, I burn his last shield. And then I wear it down with Powder Snow. But before I can get another Avalanche off, he uses the right attack this time and finishes me off. And then with the Azumarill, I think I can finish it off with just Bubble. And luckily, super effective Poison Fang still doesn't do too much damage. And now I have more than a full charge for whatever is coming next, which turns out to be Alolan Muck. So Play Rough is a neutral hit against it, but still does almost half its health. And then since I had some charge already, I'm able to get another one right away before he can even use a charge move. Now it's the mirror match with similar health, but he had charge already, so he knocks me out. And then with Toxicroak, it's just not strong enough, so he takes that one. Then I make the mistake of reacting to his previous lead again, so I go with Venusaur, but this time he goes with Golbat, another change, and I'm at a disadvantage here. We both have pretty fast charge moves, and he just beats me to his, and I decided to tank a Poison Fang since it's neutral, and then he uses a shield on Frenzy Plant, even though it would have been resisted. I'm just going down too fast to his flying attack, so I switch to a Azumarill. And even though this is super effective, I tank another Poison Fang, and then I try and get my Ice Beam off, and that burns his last shield. And then I take a chance by just taking another Poison Fang, and that's getting me down lower. And then before I can get my Ice Beam off, he gets another one, but it's so fast, so I have to use a shield for sure that time. But then this Ice Beam will finish him off. And then in the mirror match again, I have some charge, and I just go for the Ice Beam, even though it's going to be resisted, because I don't want to risk dying before getting the Play Rough off. And then at least make him use his first charge move. Then I'm ready to wreck it with Frenzy Plant charge, but I get the switch glitch and we have to restart. That was a major bummer since I was in a good position there, and I kind of let it carry over to the restart because for some reason I decided to use my shields this time. I guess because I wanted to protect Venusaur for the Azumarill matchup again. I get him to burn his shield again. Don't switch out fast enough this time and have to burn my last shield to protect Venusaur for that matchup later. And now my Azumarill is vulnerable against all these Poison Fangs. And then he plays it differently, switching to the mirror matchup a lot faster this time. And I, for some reason, go with the Ice Beam there. I don't know, try and burn his shield. I should just went play rough like he does. And this time I do, and it hits him a lot harder. And then before I can get one more off, though, he finishes me off with a faster Ice Beam. Smart of him. But this is why I had Venusaur ready. But I didn't burn both his shields this time. And then I get the switch glitch again, but I don't think it would have mattered this time because I wasn't getting to Frenzy before his Ice Beam. And Toxie's my last Pokemon. I just finished off with the counter so I can get charge rate for whatever comes in next. But it's Golbat, which is such a hard counter, resists all my moves that it's going to be GG. He did tell me his third was Muck again, so Toxie would have taken it out if not for the switch glitch before, but kudos to him for handling the restart way better than I did. My last opponent's Attack, and I figure he's going to lead with Quillfish because most people that have it do lead with it, and since he has 3 poison types, I'm finally going to use Gardevoir for once. I figure it's the last battle, I might as well use it anyway, and of course it is Quillfish. And Confusion's a bit slow with its duration to get a charge move off, but it hits ridiculously hard with the Gardevoir's attack. I have to use a shield for the quick Tail, but no big deal because I knock out Quillfish right away. And now I do have a charge move ready. I go with Shadow Ball to burn his first shield. And I know Clefable recently got Meteor Mash, which would destroy me, so I have to burn my last shield. But I'm able to get one more Shadow Ball off to burn his as well. And at this point, I'm wondering why I didn't use Gardevoir more, because it wore down 2 of his Pokemon and got all his shields out. I go with Azumarill for its tankiness, and it can just take the Dazzling Gleam right off the bat, finish it off with Bubble. And then against Crobat, I have Ice Beam just about ready, and that'll do most of the damage already, so I'm in good shape. And I have to take this poison move, knock me out, and then Toxicroak, even though it's resisted, able to finish it off. Looking at his team again, I figure he's going to change out Quillfish, so I replace Gardevoir for Venusaur and keep it the same, and he did go with the Azumarill like I was hoping. I clearly have the advantage. I probably should have charged up a little bit more in case he switched, which he did, and because of that, Frenzy Plant's double resisted, but I'm able to switch to Azumarill so I can go for an Ice Beam. I do have to shield first because I know poison move's coming, but then Ice Beam's pretty fast, and that burns one of his shields as well. And then in the race for another charge move, I get it first. Then there's a visual glitch that didn't show him using his last shield, but that's why he's able to survive and use his move. And I have to use my last shield because I know Toxie wouldn't be able to take this out. So instead I just finish it off with Bubble, get my charge ready. And he decides to go with Toxicroak, so I go play rough. It'll be neutral, but hit it pretty hard. And then I thought I'd get knocked out here, but he went for the faster Mud Bomb, which wasn't quite enough. And then it was just a tease that I almost had my charge ready. So I go with Venusaur just to knock it out with Vine Whip and be ready for the Azumarill that's left. And Frenzy charges ridiculously fast. Almost one-shots it. Instead, he's able to get his fast Ice Beam off, but Toxie knocks it out right away. So I had 4 sweeps, and that got me second again. Could've or should've won against Telegraph, but he was a deserving champ for sure, going undefeated.